What is up, Watch fam, and welcome to Rant&h. I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and on Mondays I do a little bit of a rant thing. Usually, or sometimes, most of the time, it's a little bit angry about the industry, but today I'm going to kind of respond to a lot of you, a large portion of you guys who have emailed me about collecting and how you should go about collecting, whether this just started, this whole collecting habit, or you're 3 years in and not sure if you're going the right way. I'd just like to give you my 2 cents because I'm sure plenty of you out there have the same question and haven't asked it, whether it's to me or whomever. Before I get into it, a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing a killer Tudor vintage Prince Oyster date, 38 millimeters in a two-tone. I genuinely think it is a terrific alternative to a Datejust due to the size and actually the slightly lesser price. So it is available on the shop at theoandharris.com, so please check it out. And apart from that, please subscribe to our YouTube channel because it would help us a lot, mean a lot to us. So now let's go into the collecting stuff. There are an incredible amount of different types of collectors out there. There are people that are just focused on vintage Patek, on vintage steel Patek, you know, on certain Rolex, on GMTs alone, on 1675s alone. You can literally base an entire collection off of the largest scope or the smallest scope you would like. So it makes it extremely hard to give like definitive advice because there are so many different, you know, means and not one is more right than the other. So before any of this video kind of gets into my opinion, please take it as an opinion, as how I do things, how I recommend you do them. Because, you know, I'm not the kind of guy that is going to own 15, you know, examples of the same Rolex reference in different, you know, little configurations. That's not my style, but I will tell you how I do it. I personally collect watches according to their functionality, not mechanically, but in my life. When I can wear them, when they will serve, you know, a purpose in my lifestyle. I have a 1601. I know that a Rolex 1601, in my opinion, dresses up, you know, a casual outfit or is, you know, on par in a dress outfit, right? On another token, I have a vintage JLC military watch. Show a photo of both of these watches. In my life, these serve very similar purposes, but do very different things, right? When I wear a sweater and my Rolex 1601, it dresses it up. Right, and I get this kind of, you know, a little bit more, you know, kind of a little bit more regal feel. I'm wearing a, you know, fancy Rolex. When I wear the JLC, I'm kind of dressing it down and going with a little bit more of a, you know, historical, under the radar kind of approach. That's what makes me happy. You know, that kind of, you know, splitting of ends and the same kind of look, same outfit, and taking it 2 different ways and according to my mood or how I'm feeling, that is what excites me. I have a vintage jump hour watch, right? And mind you, none of these watches are extraordinarily expensive. They're not necessarily cheap, and I think that they are a luxury in a, you know, monetary sense, you know, to a degree or another. But all of these watches, my entire collection is worth less than a steel sub. You know, so let's not think that, you know, I'm just like blowing tons of money out there. My jump hour watch serves me to really get a 20s feel, right? Like this kind of like, you know, real throwback, Great Gatsby kind of era that I wear if I'm going to dress up, like really, like, you know, kind of in a tuxedo or in a velvet jacket or something like that. That's how I wear that watch. You know, I wear all of these watches because they are, in my opinion, aesthetically interesting and they hold their own mechanically. Those are kind of my criteria. Do I love, you know, incredible mechanics? Absolutely. I would kill for a you know, Longa 1815 or a Longa 1 or whatever, a VC Patrimony. There are so many watches that I would kill for, right, because of how amazing they are mechanically. But for me, at this point in my life, with my budget, I am really into the watches that mechanically hold their own and have incredible aesthetic that really serve my life in the way that I want them to serve it. I am happy with my collection because I know myself and what I want, right? So this is the same advice that I've given you guys several times before. Know yourself, what you want to get out of a watch or get out of a group of watches, and then buy accordingly, right? So now once you do start buying, don't overbuy. Because overbuying is only going to result in you having to liquidate in a year, not having to because for money, but saying, what the f do I have all these watches for? I might as well sell them. Now that's a pain in the ass on eBay. You have to go to the post office and sell them. It's kind of a pain in the ass. It's a big disaster. And what happens most of the time is then you just contact a dealer to hopefully buy your pieces en masse. To say, okay, give me, you know, 30% of what everything's worth and just get it off my hands because I'm done with this disaster. I don't want that to happen to you guys. So don't, you know, buy frivolously. Think before you buy, whether it's $200 or $2,000. Maybe not the same amount. I think you can kind of like throw $200 around and have a little bit of fun, but still be a little bit more thoughtful when you are planning an acquisition. Further, make relationships with dealers and other people in the watch industry. Whether it's on a Facebook group for watches, or the TGV's group, or whomever, people will always give you feedback, right? And you'll always have some sort of a dialogue that you can kind of more, I don't want to say perfect, but just develop as a collector and as a watch enthusiast. And in that you will become, I think, a little bit more familiar with yourself and what you're looking to get out of your collection. Being friends with a dealer, or in contact with dealers, allows you to really understand the market and where it's going, or what you can get X for, or how much you have to save to get to that point. And if it's too long, then maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to go a little bit further down and kind of recalibrate what you're looking to get in the next 2 years. If you're the kind of guy that genuinely thinks that you want and will use a Seiko SKX and a Reverso, that is perfectly fine. I mean, that no shame there. Have them both in your watch box, and that's fine. But I don't recommend, you be a Reverso guy and buy an SKX because you think you have to. It doesn't make any sense. If I had an SKX right now, I genuinely wouldn't wear it. It's just not my style. I think it's a great watch. I respect it on so many levels. I know that good friends of mine are enormous supporters of the SKX, and that's great. But for me, it probably would collect dust, in a collection. So I wouldn't get one. There really are no non-negotiables in the watch, collecting hobby. You don't need to own any of these things. They're all luxury. I mean, Seiko SKX at $200 and whatever dollars, or Reverso at $8,000, it's all luxury. It's all unnecessary. So when you are, indulging in this luxury, do it intelligently. Don't just do it frivolously and like a king and just buy shit because you can and it's affordable on eBay. And my final note with collecting, once you do know yourself and what you really do enjoy and what you want to get out of a collection, do your homework now on those genres. If it is Omegas you're looking to collect, then read about Omega. That's not this like genius idea. It's kind of a layup. Understand what you are buying, because not only will you get burned less whether you're buying on eBay, which watch out, but I genuinely think you'll appreciate the watches you have a lot more. Having more information on them, it makes the whole relationship between you and your watch so much deeper. Collecting is an amazing hobby. I don't think that we all need to own 15 watches. If we have 3 or 4 or 15, we can have a tremendous amount of fun with those watches. And it's all about fun. It's all about having fun and enjoying yourself and enjoying your hobby and being lucky enough to be able to indulge. Leave dealing to dealers. If you want to become a dealer, that's a different story. But don't regularly buy watches with the expectation of flipping them in 3 weeks, because you're inevitably going to get hurt. After all of that, whether it's me or Federico or literally whomever, in this, kind of like content creating community, we all are looking out for all of you guys, right? And you guys look out for us, because plenty of you guys are experts on matters that I am just simply not. But we all have this common interest that I think, unites us and bonds us in a lot of ways that, we don't necessarily get on, whether it's in the street or coffee or whatever, you're just wearing a Reverso and no one gives a shit. So it is an awesome thing that we have each other to kind of talk about watches with and enjoy this hobby with. So don't overbuy, don't overspend, don't have to liquidate, don't buy things that you don't know about. Don't ruin this awesome hobby. That's kind of my opinion. If you guys have any questions for clarification, please shoot me an email at info@theoandharris.com. If I don't get back to you for a few days, I promise I will get back to you. Just a lot of emails. And thank you guys for watching Rant&h.